Baking is a pastime many people have been doing for years. It's recently come back into fashion thanks to programmes like the Great British Bake Off, which has inspired all generations to bake at home. But the question is baking something you can inherit from your parents or just a skill that you can pick up at any time in your life? I will be interviewing 3 generations of the same family to see whether this statement is true or not. How long have you been baking for?
Since I was a little girl, when I lived in a farm, and my mother used to cook every day, and we used to make cakes and pies and even bread.
Probably since I've been married, or just before I was married, which is 30 years, and before that, just like occasionally of a weekend, now and again.
I've been baking for quite a while. I remember as a kid baking with my gran and then mum, and at birthdays and things we'd always make fairy cakes and sometimes bread and things like that. But since I came back from university, I've made baking more of a hobby than just the occasional thing.
Has the way your parents baked affected the way you bake?
Not great the way they baked. The fact that they didn't really bake at all, really. Only at Christmas my mum might make mince pies or something like that, or the odd apple pie during the summer, but not a great deal of baking.
It's more influenced it rather than affected the way I bake, because my nan and mum are quite traditional bakers, so they make things like pasties and Victoria sponges, but as all the cupcake craze and all that's happened, I think everyone's baking has changed. So my mum makes cupcakes and things like that now, and like chocolates and also like homemade pies and things. So I think that's influenced the way I bake as well as my relatives.
Definitely, yeah, it has. Because my mother come from Essex and my father was Devon, and so I had a mix of how they used to cook. We used to cook some Essex way and some Devon ways.
Do you think that baking has changed over the years?
Yeah, I think it has. Baking is everywhere. It's on the TV, it's in the supermarket. People like Rachel Allen, Mary Berry and the British Bake Off and things like that have got people back into baking. So it's becoming more fashionable.
Yes, definitely. But I still bake in the old-fashioned way, because I'm not very keen on modern food.
Oh yes, greatly. With media and all these different television programmes, there's such a diverse array of ingredients and recipes, and you see it on the telly, you can read about them in magazines. People like to try different things.
Do you enjoy baking?
Yeah, I do. But sometimes you have to bake whether you want to or no. But it's nice to try new recipes.
I love baking. I think it's very therapeutic. It's lovely to see when something comes together and it works out fine. Not so good when you spend ages making it and it tastes horrible or doesn't look very nice. It's not quite so appealing then. But generally speaking, yes.
Yeah, I love baking. I find it quite therapeutic. I also really like seeing other people enjoy what I bake. So I make quite a lot of cakes and like flapjacks and things for me and my partner to take into work, and they never last very long. They're always gone pretty quick.
Do you agree that programmes like the Great British Bake Off have inspired a new generation of people to do baking at home?
Definitely. Like I said before, there's so much more out there now. There's different cuisines to try. People like to try different things. You might do some traditional stuff or local recipes, but there's much more variety out there now. And the television programmes, it's like, well, not step by step, but it explains to you how it's all done, what it's meant to look like, and it's much more encouraging because sometimes it's only got a few ingredients. It's not so frightening when you just see it written down as a recipe. When you see it actually made in front of you, it's quite inspiring, really.
I think it's made people fall in love with baking again, because so many things you can buy already made in the supermarkets and things. So I think people are making more time to do baking, especially people with kids, and some older relatives passing on the things that they learnt to do when they were younger on, because people are interested in it again.
Oh, definitely, and old generation, because I've been watching it and trying out recipes from them.
Do you think that baking will still be something that people will be doing in the future?
Yes, definitely. I think in today's economical climate as well, it's proving more cost effective when you can buy a bag of flour and some yeast to make 3 loaves of bread for the price it cost to buy one made in the supermarket. And I think people just like the taste and you know what you put in it, and also it's really rewarding, it can be social, and I think people will continue to do it.
I would say so. It's cheaper to start with. And I think, I don't know about the inner cities, but where you've got everything at hand in your takeaways, but most people cook and bake their Sunday lunch, and you know, it's nice that way, better.
People have always baked and they always will. It's lovely to bake, you know, to give presents, you know, make a cake for someone is really well received. You know, and everyday thing like baking bread, everyone eats bread, it's something that's always going to continue, it's a regular, normal, daily occurrence, and you know, and it will always continue.